Yeah, you may have trapped me, but I'm still cool.
I once knew a dog named Jackie who learned how to fetch butter from the fridge, strictly by process of elimination. She'd open the fridge, pull out something, and we'd say, no, that's not the butter, so she'd put it back and pull out something else until finally she learned exactly what it was, and she learned how to pull the butter out on command.
Okay, I once had a dog named Brutus, and Brutus was a St. Bernard. We lived in a new neighborhood, and they were building new homes, and Brutus was very, very obnoxious. One day, we were at home, my mom was at home, and we couldn't find Brutus. We didn't know where he went. So we're looking around, we're yelling for him, and here he comes. We later on found out where he was at. He was across the street at a home that was being built, and these contractors were working their tails off all day long at this house. They were putting a roof on. And Brutus had gone over while everyone was up on top of the roof nailing shingles and knocked the ladder down. And they were all trapped on the roof for hours and hours and hours. Then Brutus decides to take a walk through the nicely fresh cement that was just laid outside on the patio. Then he goes into the house and walks on the carpet and puts his nice fresh cement paw prints on the new carpet. Then he comes back home with this big smile on his face where we had, we found Brutus. There he was with cement on his paws.
Okay. I'll tell you a story. Actually, Taya, she used to have this sock fetish, and she would eat socks, and I didn't know what was happening for a long time. Every time I would do laundry, I would have missing socks. And one day I caught Taya actually trying to swallow a sock whole. She didn't chew it up, she was just trying to get the whole sock down her throat. And so I was just like, oh my God, it all makes sense. She's actually eating my socks. So I got a new boyfriend, and he kept leaving his socks laying around. And I said, don't leave your socks on the floor because Taya will eat them. And he's like, that's crazy, I don't believe that. She's not going to eat my socks. And I was like, just don't leave them laying around. Well, he did. And the next morning, he went to look for his socks, and he could only find one of them. And all I could do was just laugh. I was like, I told you. And he still didn't believe me. He's like, it's here somewhere. It's just, she's hidden. Well, about 3 days later, he took Taya out on a walk, and he came back in, and he had found his sock. And not only did he find it, but he had to remove it. So.
I used to have a dog named Telefunken, and he used to like watching me work when I would work on my motorcycle outside. He would be in the yard inside of the fence, and I would be in the driveway just to the other side of the fence, and I'd be crouched down adjusting the valves or whatever on my motorcycle, and suddenly I'd hear a bit of commotion, and I'd look over, and I'd look up, and I'd be staring at him right across the fence from me, staring me right in the eyes, and he'd be wagging his tail real big, cruising, cranking his tail around, and he'd be like, I'd be like, hey, and he'd go, and I'd go, and then he'd go, and then I'd go, like, and we'd sing together while I worked on my motorcycle.
Yeah, I always liked Dobermans myself. I love them, actually. They're very playful. They love to play, and they're very protective, too. When they need to protect, they protect. But when they're playing, they're great dogs. I had a dog, Princess Cleopatra was her name. We were at the park, being her playful self. And, we're just sitting there. Well, I'm sitting there, and she's running around, and we're in this enclosed, fenced-in area, and she's running like full speed towards the fence, and I'm just thinking, oh, she's doing laps or something, she's exercising, But, I just kind of noticed that she was just going straight for it, and on the other side of the fence, there were actually some softball players or something. They were in baseball uniforms or something. It was like three people or something like that. But, they were on the other side of the fence, so it didn't occur to me or anything. I didn't think anything funny, but I guess she had seen them, and they were, who knows, I think later I found out they were selling tickets to a game or some candy or something, but she just was going towards the fence, and she just kind of ran right straight through the fence. I mean, it was a chain link fence. It wasn't like a little weak fence or anything, but it's a good thing that they're listeners, because I had to call her off, and as soon as I called, she was back on point.
I used to have a dog named Jake, and Jake was a golden Labrador, and he was really cool, but he had a nasty habit. He would take and break out of the yard, and he'd go up and down the alleys and knock trash cans over. And when he did, he'd bust open the bags and eat all the leftovers. And he'd do this till like 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning. And he'd come home, and there'd be a scratching at my front door. And I'd look, and Jake was so big and fat, he'd be about as big around as a trash can. And I'd yell at him and say, "Jake, you're a bad dog." And he'd just wag his tail and look at me. That's my dog story.
Yeah, it's been about a year ago. Got a dog of mine called Kelsey, a little golden retriever. When we first got her, she got kind of sick, and took her to the vet. The vet thought it was distemper, and we thought we were going to have to put her down. But we decided, such a special dog, smart dog. We decided to go ahead and keep her anyway, even if she did happen to pass away soon. But we kept her, had a lot of fun, took her to the park a lot. And come to find out, a couple of weeks later, she's still alive, and come to find out the vet was wrong. The dog, we just had a pneumonia, a little cold action, and everything ended up turning out great. We've had her ever since. It's been a great dog. Take her out down by the river quite a bit. She loves the water. Just go out there and jump in it and swim around. And can't think of anything else to say now.
This is a story about a big, huge dog. His name is Chili. Chili was a Rottweiler, and he weighs 150 pounds, and he's mean as he can be. And his name, Chili, you can probably guess. Chili smelled a lot like a chili bean. He had some of the worst farts in the world. And one of the reasons Chili smelled so bad all the time is because he would eat anything. He would eat absolutely anything. So one night we had come home, and we found one of those jars of Icy Hot. I don't know if you know what that is. That's that stuff that you put on sore muscles. It kind of burns and it's cool at the same time. Well, poor Chili had eaten almost 3/4 of this jar of Icy Hot. And the dog was laying on the floor just crying. It was unbelievable. We thought the poor guy was going to die. We took him into the hospital, and they pumped his stomach, and Chili managed to live. But just about every day for the next 3 or 4 weeks, every time Chili would go to the bathroom, he would just be crying and hollering and screaming. And it's just, poor Chili, ever since that day was never quite the same.
I once had a black mutt named Skeeter who was adopted. She had been abandoned, and we took her on. Skeeter was very, very sweet, but stubborn and kind of dumb. She was so sweet that she made friends with the garbage men. And you could see Skeeter on garbage day at the back of the fence with her paws on the fence, wagging her tail, and the garbage men would love on her a little bit. But one cold morning, we looked out the backyard. It was garbage day, and Skeeter was having breakfast. The garbage men had left a pizza for Skeeter, and she was in the backyard eating pizza for breakfast.
Femi with the softest fur in the entire world. Beautiful white fur. She had her first litter of puppies in my living room in Pecos, New Mexico. And the first one out of the chute was Scanner. He's the one I picked. I knew I wanted him, first of all because he was the first, but then one time I tied him to a tree with another one of the bigger puppies, and he just nearly at 6 weeks old killed his brother. And I thought, well, no, this is a good trait in a guard dog. So anyway, as later when Scanner grew up, he turned into a great mountain dog. And one time, he and I used to go up into the mountains in the Sangre de Cristos up near Monte Luna, Monte Sol in Santa Fe. and he used to come up with me in the mountains, and he was always rumbling with the coyotes up there. There's a whole pack of them, and I used to find coyote fur all over the driveway. And one day I was up there taking a little walk in the mountains, you know, and I see my dog Scanner jumping around like he's playing with another dog, and I'm wondering, is he playing with the neighbor's dog, or what's he doing? And it's, you know, he's running. He could jump like a deer. He was an amazing dog. He was a blackmouth cur, like they're bred to hunt javelina hogs in Arkansas. And anyway, he's playing with this. I thought it was the neighbor's dog, but I couldn't really see who he was playing with, and they were running around and jumping and stuff, and Scanner came running past me full steam. He always knew exactly where I was whenever we were out in the mountains together, and it was strange. He ran full speed past me, and I couldn't figure out what he was doing. And I realized that about 10 yards behind him was this coyote. He'd been playing with a coyote, and actually not even playing with him, tricking that coyote to come running right down to where I was. It was a trap. He had laid for this coyote because he assumed, knowing me, that I was going to whack that coyote as soon as he got within arm's reach. And sure enough, I pulled my big old knife, and that coyote, like in the movies, put on the skids about 10 feet or less from where I was standing. Totally did not see me at all. And you should have seen the look on his face. I'm standing there, big old me, with this big old blade in my hand, and all I could do was just start laughing. And I started laughing and making fun of Coyote, and I'm saying, "Hey, Mr. Coyote, look at it, we got you, Mr. Coyote." And immediately after he put on the skids, he turned and went to run away, and coyotes are funny that way. He ran about 10 feet, and he realized I wasn't chasing him, and he turned around and looked at me like, with that kind of disdain. It's kind of like a cat almost, but it's a coyote instead, and just looking at me like, yeah, you may have trapped me, but I'm still cool. Just like he was going to start walking away from then on. And Scanner had circled back and took off from this rock that was in an overhang just above where this coyote was, and had about a 10 or 15 foot leap and landed on this coyote's back and started chewing him up. And that coyote didn't have much time to be disdainful. That Scanner was an amazing dog.